Buenos dias, muchachos y muchachas. Today we're going to be in the nature. Today we're going on a hike into the Amburó National Park here in Samaipata, in the Santa Cruz area of Bolivia. The national park is over here behind me, in the mountains over here. Here's the guard, here's my group. We're with a guide today and three other guys. And my girlfriend, and there's the guide himself, or the park ranger. So here we've parked the car here, and now we're going to hike up into the mountains over here behind me. There are some trees, some fern trees here that are more than 1,000 years old. That's the main spectacle here, the main thing to see, and some fantastic views. So let's go explore. Let's go. So I found my hiking stick, and we're coming off the trail now, off the dirt road and onto a hiking trail. And take a look at that view out there behind me. That is one hell of a view. So Samaipata is behind the hill over here behind me, and then that hill there, and then over here in the valley we can see that's another village down there. This is beautiful. This is really beautiful. Take a look at the trail in front of me. Now we're coming onto something. We're walking on a like mountain ridge kind of thing. It's quite slippery, the floor, because it's been raining the last 2 days, and I haven't got the best hiking shoes anymore. I need some new ones. The pattern on my shoes are pretty much non-existent at this point. But I'll soldier on. I've got my trusty stick here that will definitely help me going. And just look at the vegetation here is getting dense, like proper type forest thing. Like look at the fern, or look at the grass growing on the moss on the trees here. It is beautiful already, and we're just getting started. Isn't that fantastic? And to think that these plants that we're going to find, the ferns I should say, to think that they are more than 1,000 years old, the oldest of them. They are some of the only species surviving from the dinosaur times, and that excites me a lot. I don't know about you. Let's go and find them. Here we see some smaller ferns already. So we're looking for this, but 12 meters tall, 10 meters tall, something like that. Let's go explore this. We have another example of something very special of this area. The red thing here, is called lichens, or lichens in Spanish, and they are like mushrooms, basically type mushrooms that lives only in super pure areas. And as I said before, this grass, this moss growing on the trees is just spectacularly fairy tale like. Look at this here, like it looks like the tree has been dressed up, like it's wearing a dress or something to cover its naked part from the leaves that it has up there. It is spectacular, very, very fairy tale like. It is gorgeous, yeah, very gorgeous. And as the guy was just explaining, the lichens there, I saw them as well in the previous trip to Namibia in Africa, in the middle of the desert. Crazy to think about that. Here we have them again. That this type of, it's not a marker for the trail. It's not a red marker for the trail. It is little mushroom-like things. Super, super fragile. And crazy to think about that they can live both in this type of environment here and in the desert where there's nothing, no humidity. It's just a sign of 100% pure air. That's incredible. Look at it. All right, we have come to the top. I don't know if it's the top, but it's certainly some type of viewpoint. Take a look at this. That is beautiful. Notice how it's just layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of mountain. It's just mountains everywhere. Every layer down there behind me. So basically we're walking on this ridge that you basically continue with over here. Wow. That is gorgeous. That is fantastic. And the sun's coming out. And over the other way, you see there's the other side of the ridge. So you have the ridge coming here that we're walking on, and then it just drops down into more mountains. Beautiful. And we have some more trees dressed in moss over here. Look at that. Now take a look at this view again. And then I'm gonna have a sip of water. Alright, so we headed off from this viewpoint here, back out, but just once again take a look at this view. It is absolutely spectacular. There's also, I just noticed after before, look at this, there's some, I don't know what they are, agave or what are these? Some kind of cactus, palm kind of thing. Then you have farmland down here, and it is just gorgeous. The way that it's just layer upon layer upon layer, and there's still some clouds hanging in, or some fog hanging in from the rain the last 2 days. It is spectacular. And now we're gonna head on further up to the mountain over here, up to the top. That's where the helechos gigantes, the big ferns, they are starting over in that area over here. You see that mast over there with the that peak there. That's where we're going, up there. So let's go explore. This is beautiful. Vamos. That hole. This Adolfo, the guide, was saying That is the work of armadillos. 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 The I don't know what you call them in English. I think they're just called armadillos as well. You see, here there's more of it. So they're hunting for animals down here in the holes. The armadillos. They're digging in, looking for animals. Don't know exactly what animals they're looking for. And in this Amboro National Park here, guide saying there are condors, there are jaguars, pumas, all sorts of crazy animals. All the jungle animals are further in, not in the edge of the national park there where we are right now, but further in. There's hundreds of different birds, parrots, condors, there's tapirs, there are what's it called, what's the word, bears, of course. There are bears here as well, smaller bears, not like massive Alaskan bears or something. But yeah, that's all the different animals. And look at this as well. I'm just coming past, look at these little beautiful flowers here as well, like this one here. It's just fantastic if you want to stand still. This little purple contrast and the white contrast from all these flowers, and the density of this forest. It's like kind of a rainforest thing. And then it drops down into the beginning of the Amazon, further into the National Park Amboro, which is where you'll find all these fantastic animals like the anacondas and pumas and jaguars and all that sort of beautiful animals that I'm hoping to catch further on in this trip to go to the Amazon. That would be fantastic. I'm looking at a place called Trinidad, where there's a boat. There's a boat that goes with six rooms on the boat, like a hotel boat basically, that goes in through the jungle. And that sounds fantastic to me. Pink dolphins, all that sort of stuff. Pink dolphins, indigenous jungle communities. I really want to see if I can make that happen. Because now we're obviously coming down to the southern and eastern lower lands of Bolivia, Santa Cruz, Chiquitanía, Trinidad, Beni, these types of areas. And yeah, stick around for that. That's going to be fucking amazing. And then here we go, some smaller versions of the helechos here, the ferns over there. This one right here. There we go. We found the massive ferns. Isn't that beautiful? Take a look at how tall it is. If I go a little bit closer, you can really get an idea. That is fantastic. And the view down here behind me to all of the rest of the ferns is just pure, massive fern trees here. And yeah, as the sun is just coming through just a little bit, if the sun would come through completely, I'm sure it would look even better. Would highlight the shadows in the highlights and the shadows in the image here. Like, take a look at this. Isn't it gorgeous? It looks like statues basically. It's fantastic. And he's saying, the guy's saying, it's about, they are, oh, look at this. Here's the leaf that's fallen off. That is detail on the leaves. It's fantastic. Let's put it down here. It's like little red bubbly tones in there as well. That is gorgeous. But yeah, these ferns are outdating the dinosaurs on the planet. These are, as I was saying earlier, some of the only surviving species on the planet today that was alive before the dinosaurs and still today. It is crazy to think about. These ferns have seen the Incas come here, the Incas get overtaken by the Spanish rule, Simon Bolivar kick out the Spanish, and then Bolivia being born. And they're just here, chilling, all by themselves, these ferns. If I turn this way, you'll see way more of the ferns behind me. Wow. These ferns have outlived. They've seen Berlin fall. They've seen Berlin rise a number of times. They've seen Pinochet. They've seen Evo Morales lately here in Bolivia. That is crazy to think about. And in the dinosaur times, these ferns would grow up to 30 meters tall. I guess that's a function of how pollution is taking a play in the world today. Like, but look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? It's just so... You could imagine a T-Rex just jumping out from behind me. Just go, oh, kill me there. Wow. This is like, as I was saying before, I get Lord of the Rings, the guy saying Avatar, Jurassic Park, obviously. That type of vibe here. This fairy tale vibe. It's gorgeous. And yeah, they call them the new ones. We have a good example over here. Let's go and check it out. Here we have a small one. That's already about a meter, so it's probably already 100 years old or so. So the old ones here, they grow new leaves every year. And then the old ones, that's called the beard, la barba, they fall off and new ones grow out. Here we have a good example over here of this one. That's how they grow out. So they basically look like basically like butterflies, larva of butterfly or something like that. That's what it looks like, eh? Can you see that there? It's spectacular. So it really looks like lavas from butterflies. The way that they, if you've ever seen one of the butterflies open and then fly out, that type of vibe. There's a little stream here. Obviously this is where they get their water from, the plants, to live. Whew, that is cold. Damn. That bears well for the waterfalls that we're going to check out tomorrow. That's going to be a good cold dip. Take a look at that. Out of the forest, we're looking up to the viewpoint up here. It's warmer outside, out of the forest, out from under the canopy of the trees. It is significantly warmer. And take a look at the view that we're greeted by here. This is spectacular. The layer upon layer with different lights just disappearing into the light, disappearing into the clouds. What you call it, the mist, the foggy nature of the clouds. Down here, these boulders, it reminds me of, I didn't know Bolivia had this, to be honest. It reminds me of things that you see from landscapes that you see from Thailand and Vietnam and Laos and these kind of countries over in Southeast Asia, with these rocks, formations, very marked ridges and just steep hills down, steep falls down on each side. Let's put the microphone there. Fantastic, and let's see. Here's the view. It's going to reveal itself on the other way. Look at that. There's a guide in the white. Wow. And it just keeps going and going and going out that way. Isn't that beautiful? And that way behind us as well. So all this in behind me is Parque Amboró, the national park. And then over here on the other side we have Samaipata, the village from which we're staying, in which we're staying, and from which we'll find our way back down that way now, I think, after taking in the views for a while here. And it's just still, there's barely a wind blowing. I love this light. Take a look at that, like just white and blue tones with a slight bit of yellowy tones from the sun that's coming through ever so slightly, ever so slowly. That's spectacular. Wow. I think we'll end the video here as well. I think this is the end of the hike before we go back. Let's go and take a look over here by the edge. Take a look at the view. I'm gonna sit down, take in the views, and then we're gonna head back down to town, find ourselves a beer and some lunch, but most importantly, a beer. Cheers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.